Welcome to A Double
and
Dice
with your host Kim.
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage,
Pull up a comfy chair.
because we are ready to roll.
Welcome to episode 63 of A Double and Dice, and today we are continuing our series on with the female characters and dice masters. I almost forgot what I was going to say there. And we're going to focus on someone from the upcoming set, because she's in that set, that we hope drops sometime in July.
And from the rumors, may be dropping in the UK and Europe sooner.
Yeah, could you imagine they beat us? That'd be funny.
I think it would be nice. It would be nice for the UK and Europe. I don't know if Europe is included, but I know the UK is expecting Superman Kryptonite Crisis to drop potentially the week of this recording, which of course is right before you've heard it because it comes out on a Monday. So I really hope that for the UK's sake that they get Kryptonite Crisis before us, because we always get product first.
Yeah. I think one of them, I don't know if it was, I was looking, I don't know if it was Stu art. His looked like it was shipped. So I don't know. Like his Kryptonite. By the way, we're talking about Kryptonite.
I think I said it. Remind Kryptonite.
Yeah,
Crisis.
it was shipped, but yeah, we'll see if they post anything. But when is it supposed to drop? The 4th?
July 6th.
6th.
Yeah.
Wednesday. Okay.
That's right. That is the North American release date, as best we are aware of.
Well, our fingers are crossed. But before we get there, we are going to dive into a very, very heavy dice bag.
There was a lot of chatter.
Yes, on the one we can't see.
That's right. So if you have not listened to episode 62 of A Double and Dice, or you have not read our spoiler article that came out that day, we would encourage you to go and check that out before we talk about this invisible woman that we're going to talk about here. That was part of the subject of all of our spoilers. So we'll wait. Go ahead. Okay, you're back. All right. So let's start with an email. We got an email from our good friend Andy May. And Andy says, it's been a while, so I wanted to increase the weight of the mailbag. So he continues, something fun about the Fantastic Four that came up in the original Diablo runs is that Stan Lee created them to represent the 4 ancient elements of fire, earth, water, and air. So fire would obviously be the Human Torch, earth would be the Thing, water would be Reed Richards because his body can flow, and air would be Sue Storm. He says it will be great to have the completion of the Fantastic Four finally. He said he always thought that the Invisible One abilities were reused for the Invisible Stalker from the Battle for Faerun set. So he always put Invisible Stalker on his Fantastic Four fun team along with the other 3. So I thought that was pretty fun. So thanks, Andy, for reaching out to us at dmNorth.com and providing us that email, because it was great to read and it was great to hear from you. We also heard, well, the next little bit is a whole bunch of chatter from the Discord. So if you have not joined the dmNorthTV Discord, Kim's going to drop a link to it in our show notes, right, Kim?
Always. So you can join the Discord there and join the conversation live. So the first thing was, as I had mentioned in the previous episode, we did have a pop culture train wreck moment. I had a pop culture. You had a...
Well, I do all of the pop culture talking, so of course it was me. No, you do too. Anyway, so I said that Secret Wars might have something to do with Skrulls and that there was a Disney Plus TV series coming. And then I also said, I'm pretty sure this is a pop culture train wreck moment and I'm messing something up here. So sure enough, I was. And I want to thank all of the folks that reached out to me to let me know what I was actually thinking of. And Kim, when did we figure it out? Remember?
Right after we pretty much ended the podcast.
Yeah, we hit stop on the podcast and I realized that I did not mean Secret Wars. I was thinking of Secret Invasion.
Close. Both had secret in it.
Right? So Secret Invasion is going to be a Disney Plus TV show, and Secret Invasion has to do with Skrulls. But we were talking about Secret Wars, which is something completely different. So anyway, so we heard from a number of folks about that error. So I do appreciate everyone's kind words and letting me know that I had mixed that up and understanding why I had mixed it up in my head. So that was very appreciative. So let's go on here about some of this chat here. So Jackalope Span said he's read most of, if not all, the Secret Wars 2015 comic books, which is Battle World. He said it's a lot easier to read since you can mostly read the main story and then follow up with a lot of the side stories. And he was comparing that to the Secret Invasion storyline because we were talking about Secret Invasion accidentally. He does say that you kind of want to read the Avengers and the New Avengers run by Hickman that happens right before Secret Wars. Time runs out in X months Secret Wars. It has some good stuff between Sue Reed, and more than that, it really set the stage for Secret Wars. So that's a reading recommendation for me from Nick. There was some chatter about, is there like a recommended reading list for Secret Wars? So Nick shared a link that would help with that, and we can drop that in the show notes if you're interested as well. But basically the way he described it, it was all kind of a funny story where they made this huge, crazy, anything can happen world where the main story doesn't go to most of the domains within. So the mini-series are all little spotlights on their world building. Like one area is explored in Armor Wars. Something happens such that everyone must essentially wear a suit of Iron Man armor or they'll die from a virus. Heroic deeds involving the mystery of how that happened ensue. But from what he remembers, the story arcs never crossed paths with the main line, and it was almost completely disjointed. He thinks one character appeared in the main line, but it was very, very minor. So lots of different choices there. We heard from Jordo. He said, great listen today. He said, I am a fan of this backstory stuff. I don't follow the Fantastic Four all that closely and appreciate the info. He's not so sure about the blank die thing. He gets it, but it seems weird.
Yeah, it will be interesting watching a die with stats on it and no pictures because we never had that before.
Yeah, we got a first time for everything.
It's different. Yeah.
He also mentioned hashtag it's a board game expansion. Kim, what is he talking about?
HeroClix.
Exactly.
Yeah, HeroClix.
So there we go. Then let's see. What else did we have here? TrueMisterSix said he would possibly argue that the Secret Wars event is possibly extremely dense for casual or newer readers. It relies on a lot of background knowledge. He found it all a bit much, and he thinks his credentials as a lifetime reader are reasonable. And Nick said that he hasn't read as much as TrueMisterSix, but he still enjoyed it. Some of the weird stuff might have been better explained had I read it more, but I didn't feel like I was missing out. So there was just some Secret Wars chatter there. And that is kind of that piece that we heard there. Also, I said that Chris from the Ministry of Dice, aka the TrueMisterSix, would probably be doing a Secret Wars background video.
Catch everybody up before it releases.
And apparently that already exists. So, because isn't that what he said, Kim?
I think so.
I don't have that.
Or he's going to redo one, maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember my last little note here. I didn't have it here. So, but there was something about he made one and he might redo one.
I can look while we're talking.
Yeah. Here it is. I already did, and he provided the YouTube link, which we'll drop in the notes. He said, that was back in the days when my camera was pants, though. There will be an updated, better quality lore vid on the way for sure. So watch for that, but in the meantime, we will send you the pants version link.
Look, I accidentally just did a thumbs up in our chat. For no apparent reason, because I hit that by accident.
There was a lot of chatter about, good recommendations for comic books in there, and that was good to hear. And then Jackalope Span ended that conversation with, I forgot to mention the other day that in the Secret Wars storyline, Franklin does indeed control a Galactus. He's pretty excited to see how some of the other Fantastic Four members are presented in set. The Thing had a really interesting role, and I hope they embrace that in his design. So looking forward to hearing about that. We also heard from everyone's fave hero, Donnie On.
The YouTube.
As always, thanks, Donnie, for consistently and regularly providing us feedback on the YouTube. He said, the cards look great. I'm excited for the new look. I'm glad you guys broke the traditional woman story with Sue. I am surprised that Sue is a mask and not a shield.
We got that a few times, yeah.
When I think of Sue, the first thing that comes to mind is her protective nature. Plus, we have the Thing as a fist, Johnny as a bolt, and Mr. Fantastic as a mask.
but I get the invisibility gears towards a mask. From a visual standpoint, I don't mind the difference in the old versus the new cards on the mat. The broken frame cards have already helped that for me. So that's really a good perspective, right? The promo cards that have come out have started to show people what it would look like to have different types of cards on your mat, and it's really not that different.
Mm-hmm.
We heard from Reg, who dropped a episode comment on our spoiler article. He says, excellent article. Invisible Woman will be one of the most anticipated dice in this game since the original set. He said, one thing to point out with just having the 3 dice images, which is the level 1, like use pile transition zone is level 1 on the top or the bottom. We're so used to right. Now Dice Masters will answer our questions with top to bottom probably, and it will finally straight out all those on the use pile at the top nonsense. It says, I know they're messing with a 4-level character die, but I really wish they would do in a future card as Cosmic Cube, 6 sides of energy. No text, just 1 to 4 energy you can roll would be amazing. So I said I replied to him, and we are certain that the dice stack vertically. So the bottom is level 1, and then the middle is level 2, and then the top is level 3, except in the case of Franklin's Galactus, because then you have a level 4.
Yeah.
I do think it's an interesting thought, though, on a full energy die.
That would be interesting.
And then Bruce Wayne chimed in on that and said, we use the term spin up and spin down. So Bruce Wayne feels that that's pretty self-evident that the lower would be the number 1. I think it's just different, right? We have to get
used to reading it different. Yeah.
We also had someone on Reddit comment and said, really, Invisible Woman finally has a die? And yes, she will this fall, but we have a picture of it at least. So, and then we had a lot of jokes about, I wish I could see the spoiler and I don't see anything. Of course, because she's invisible. So, there was some chatter about how her effect worked. And someone thought initially, by just a quick read, that her defense would happen to the attacker, like the person, as opposed to the die, and then that was sort of straightened out in the comments. So,
oh, you mean like to life? Then
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So anyway, lots and lots of chatter. Much of that happened directly in the Discord in the Double and Dice podcast convo channel. So like we mentioned off the top, if you'd like to join the conversation, you can do so by joining our Discord if you're not there already.
You want to hear something funny?
Of course.
I'm looking at my comic books, my very small stack of comic books.
Yes.
And I have one labeled Secret Wars 2099.
Oh, yeah?
But I don't know. Like, is that a one-off read? Or maybe someone can tell me. I think I won that in one of the Breath Weapon X tournaments.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's like it was 2099, so I'm assuming that's a year.
Yeah, there's a whole series of comic books based on 2099. Like I know there's a Spider-Man 2099, and I think there's other ones as well.
Yeah, so maybe, someone, those...
Like heroes in the future, I guess.
Probably. It's probably a future, like, one of some sort.
Does anyone want to fill Kim in on the premise of Secret Wars 2099 before she digs into that little volume?
Yeah.
Kim, you have homework now.
I do. I can't reach it to see if it's like a volume thing or not, but I'll have to.
But you have to read it and do a report.
Oh yes, I will read it. Yeah, I'll read it. It's a thin read. It's a quick read.
That report to be double spaced with 1-inch margins. No, I'm just
double spaced.
Remember back in the days, and then you had to print everything.
Matt still does its double spacing,
There's nothing wrong with double spacing.
I don't do double spacing.
I used to do 1.5 spacing.
Okay, so you actually programmed it to do 1.5?
Yeah,
because you can't exactly double space 1.5.
Double looked too much, and then not enough.
Too spacey.
Yeah, just too much space. Also, I don't know if you've noticed this, Kim, but I can be quite verbose. I use a lot of words, and I talk a lot, and I write a lot. And when I do that, there's a lot of words, and all of my words wouldn't fit on the pages if I did double spacing. So 1.5 spaces it was.
I
think sometimes
she got her formula
on it. So anyway, I just thought it looked better.
That's
the nice bag, Kim.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's a pretty big one. So yeah, if you haven't seen that chatter, go ahead. If you ever do want to comment, Jocelyn will let you know at the end of the episode where you can reach us.
That is the thing that I do.
Yes, that's the thing. But we are going to dive into our female character, and we're going to dive in with Mrs. Lois Lane.
Mrs. Lois Lane Kent.
Mrs. Lois Lane. That's what I'm going with. Mrs. Lois Lane. Lois Lane. She has no cool name. It's just Lois Lane.
Lois Lane dash Kent.
Yeah, I guess, right?
Yep. Yeah, she's only Mrs. if she's married to Clark Kent, aka Superman, which I think she does at some point.
She does.
So let's preface this by saying the DC Comics continuity is challenging, to say the least. And I know there's some DC Comics fan folks out there, and perhaps you can help me put all this together. Like, obviously, we've done a lot of DC and we've done a lot of Marvel female characters and Dice Masters before. But this was probably the hardest one for me to research so far. And I don't know what was different about this versus others, but particularly for the DC continuity. So, Kim, have you ever heard of the New 52?
Yes.
Because I told you about it in our show notes?
No, because I read The Flash, the New 52.
Okay. So what do you know about the New 52?
I don't know.
You just know there is a thing called the New 52.
Yes.
Okay. So in DC Comics in 2011, which was a little over 10 years ago, the entire line of DC characters was relaunched, incorporating all of the properties belonging to each of the company's imprints. So there's different imprints that DC had based on the type of stories they were telling. So they had Wildstorm, they had Milestone, and they had Vertigo. So with the New 52, they sort of took all of these different elements and basically relaunched the entire DC universe with 52 titles. So there were 52 comic books, each one about a different comic person type thing.
Character, yeah.
And yeah, that's what I mean. And everything before that basically doesn't matter anymore.
Okay.
And then since then, there's been something called Rebirth, and it just gets really confusing. So I'm going to focus on this new 52 version of Lois Lane. I'm not going to do anything before that, Golden Age, Silver Age, Modern Age of comics. I'm not going to talk about Rebirth, which happens after the New 52, because I think there was I'm assuming that DC decided this New 52 thing didn't really pan out, and they changed it up again. So we're going to talk sort of about New 52 Lois Lane, and whether that's the right version of Lois Lane to talk about or not, I don't know. But that's the decision that I have made.
All right.
So in the New 52, Lois Lane is a world-famous investigative journalist, and she is employed at the newspaper called The Daily Planet alongside fellow reporter Clark Kent. Surprise! Superman. Photographer Jimmy Olsen, and the Daily Planet editor-in-chief Perry White. Lois was raised in the military as the daughter of General Sam Lane, and she is more than capable of handling herself in almost any situation. She's also one of Superman's fiercest and most dedicated allies. So Lois Lane's history in the New 52 was that Lois and her sister Lucy grew up traveling with their parents from military base to base across the world in countries as diverse as Germany, Japan, and Ecuador. In part due to this, and because of their mother Eleanor's Latino ethnicity, they spoke a mishmash of various languages. Eleanor died when they were living in Germany, and Lois took on many tasks such as household chores and looking after her sister. So later on, Lois gets a job working at the Daily Planet, and that is her job. So she is an investigative journalist, and she has worked with all sorts of different people that she's interviewed. So in this one example here, she went to Gotham City, which we know is where Batman lives. And she went to interview Ralph Mangubat. I probably said that wrong. Who's a prison escapee who claimed to be wrongfully imprisoned. Her train was attacked by robots of his androids, but she was saved by Superman. But at this time, Superman had become amnesiac, so he was having problems with his memory, and he was being influenced by Catwoman.
Lois was worried about him and attempted to remind him of who he was, but he and Catwoman flew away, leaving Lois at the mercy of these robots. Fortunately, Batman rescued her, but Lois realized that Batman had lost his memory as well. Later on, she was taken hostage by Scarecrow, who caused an explosion to escape from the Dark Knight. And although Batman and Lois survived, several innocents were killed. Later that night, Batman meets Lois at her apartment and requests her help in catching the Scarecrow. She accepts, and Lois gets to wear one of Batgirl's old suits, not soups. But they don't get to track down the Scarecrow, and Superman and Catwoman attack Megabutt, who had been placed in police custody. Lois is able to help Batman cause his memories to return through some interactions that they have, and he's able to make Superman remember who he is before this Mangubat guy is killed. Batman and Superman go their separate ways, and Superman brings Lois back to the Daily Planet. Lois tells Superman the man that almost killed the Mangubat guy was not really him, but Superman replies that memory loss or not, he must take responsibility for his actions. At this time, Lois has also started deeply caring for Clark Kent by now, despite him acting like a loner, and she's called him his best friend. So, we know, viewers, watchers, readers, etc., the reason that Clark Kent is a loner is because this is for you.
Superman,
yeah. He doesn't want people to know that. So she's tried setting him up with multiple women to help him out, but he would never take it forward, as he only wanted her. So she had always considered him a rival in journalism and was inspired by his passion, especially his stories on the downtrodden. There's a bit of a time warp here, and the Daily Planet building is being demolished 5 years in the future, and the newspaper has been bought by someone called Morgan Edge, who merged the planet into his Galaxy Broadcasting Systems, the Planet Global Network. Edge promotes Lois, making her heads of the media division, and Clark Kent is made the lead reporter on the Superman stories. And then Lois, I guess, has a boyfriend called Jonathan Carroll that causes friction in her relationship with Clark, and she moves in together. And then this doesn't go super well, and Lois decides to return to her old job as a street reporter instead of remaining as the head of the media division. So there's a story that she's working on at this time called Something About the 20. It's a mysterious group of different people who disappeared on the same day. She's been working on the story for a long time because for 5 years she searched for clues until her investigation led her to a man, Senator Hume. She meets Hume at a fundraiser, and Hume reveals that he is one of the 20 and tells her the story of Brainiac, saying that Brainiac gave them powers so that he could repopulate his homeworld, Kolu. As he finishes his story, Hume says Brainiac will return for the 20. The strain of his power kills him, but not before he gives his power to Lois, who falls unconscious. So somehow, this power that Hume has received from Brainiac as one of the 20 kills him, but he's able to transfer that power over to Lois. Lois falls unconscious. Superman finds her, wraps her with his cape, and then a few days later she wakes up at the hospital with her Jonathan by her side. So at this point, she's developing psychic powers, and she goes to help Superman, who's being attacked by the psychic pirate. The psychic
It's a weird name.
The psychic pirate defeats Lois and goes on to attack Metropolis, forcing her and Superman to join forces with Hector Hammond and the Hive Queen. The four work together and defeat the psychic pirate. During the confrontation, Lois learns that Superman is Clark Kent, but then falls back into a coma, so Superman brings her back to the hospital.
Wow, she faints a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least she has psychic powers at this point, because up until this point, in all the research that I did prior to the New 52, she was just basically a love interest for Superman. Slash Clark Kent. There wasn't really a lot of story about her. She was just basically there as like a plot device almost. Mm-hmm. So at least here she's got some powers. So anyway, she starts to manifest as astral projections before Superman. Her powers continue to grow exponentially, causing her to see and hear every thought in Metropolis. Although Superman promises her that she will be okay, the parasite attacks the hospital, trying to steal her powers. After seeing the parasite absorb both his and Lois's powers, Superman considers the idea of the parasite curing Lois. Superman allows Parasite to absorb Lois's psionic energy. it overwhelms the paper parasite, causing him to collapse. Without the psionic energy, Lois awakens from her coma, but she doesn't seem to remember Superman's identity, so she's forgotten that he's Clark Kent. And she doesn't have any powers anymore, so she just kind of goes back to being a reporter, and she starts helping people out, and including like her sister Lucy, who was looking for her roommate Amanda, who'd been kidnapped by a group by a group called the Cartel. And she investigates the cartel. She gets captured by the cartel. Surprise. And she manages to escape, and she rescues Amanda. And she finds out that, there was some underlying drug use involved in this cartel story. And she decides to publish her story about the cartel. She does other types of investigations into like the suicide slum alongside a group of cops. She still has some psionic abilities apparently at this point, so she helps to paralyze the enemies. So there's just there's also this little bit of a love triangle thing happening between her and Superman / Clark Kent and Jonathan Carroll, her boyfriend. So there's some stuff going on there, just sort of like a romantic relationship piece, and jealousy, it looks like, from the story in here and things like that. So anyway, so basically, that's the type of thing she does. She investigates things as a reporter, and then she writes the stories or doesn't write the stories, and keeps getting herself into tricky scrapes. And some of those she's able to get herself out of, like with the cartel, where she's able to escape. And in other cases, Superman has to save her. So yeah, that just is a few of the pieces there. And then, there's a little bit more story, but just in general, she focuses on, working on these newspaper stories because she is a world famous investigative reporter. And then there's Rebirth. So I don't know what happens there. I stopped at that point. So if you want to know more, you can head over to dc.fandom.com and search for Lois Lane of Prime Earth. And you can find out more about that. And you could also probably read some comics. And I'm going to say the TrueMisterSix can probably make some recommendations. But yeah, DC continuity, super confusing.
Yeah, it seems so.
So she had some psionic powers at some point as a result of this interaction with Senator Hume. But generally, she is just generally a reporter.
But then she eventually, I assume, gets together with Clark and kind of...
Yeah, at some point she does.
Yeah.
I didn't get quite into that part of the story, and that part of the story that I did read was pre the New 52, and like I said, too confusing. So I walked away from that research. So yeah, so she's got some of the psionic ability and like I said, better. She has a little bit more to do in the New 52 version, it seems like, than what she did before. And on the positive side, we don't have to talk about any horrible things that happened to her.
Nope.
And she's also
pretty
not
clean.
a doctor.
She is or she isn't.
Nope. She's just not a doctor. She's just a investigative reporter. So that is Lois Lane in a nutshell.
And let's see if her cards line up with our story, because sometimes that does happen.
Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. So we will know more when we get into that. So how many sets has she been in, Kim?
2.
Yep.
World's Finest, and of course the new one's coming out, Superman Kryptonite Crisis.
She was not in Superman Wonder Woman.
No, she was not.
No. So yeah. So do you want to start with the World's Finest cards, Kim?
Sure. So she's got a common, an uncommon, and a rare in World's Finest.
And a promo.
And the promo, yeah. So her common is... Oh, actually, sorry, that's wrong.
That's right.
Superwoman, Lois Lane. See what happens when you search? So Lois Lane... Well, there's... Okay. Superman's girlfriend. And she's a two-cost fist with a Superman affiliation, and her text is ally.
Right.
That's
so
it.
What's an ally, Kim?
An ally is a psychic pretty much in the field zone. So they act like a psychic. So anything that has to do with the psychic, they will count towards that. So
Yeah, and her stat levels on all of her dice, including the ones in the new set, because they are reusing the die, just different colored, are 01, 012, and 022.
Yeah, and it's like a pad of paper or something like that is the...
Yeah, it's like a notepad. She's an investigative reporter.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty there, plain forward. Her other one is her uncommon, which is called Daily Planet Reporter. Also an ally. And while Lois Lane is active, your Superman character dice get +1A while attacking.
Your other Superman
Your other Superman characters, yes. So not including her.
Yeah. And she's the 3-cost fist, if you didn't mention that. I don't know if you did.
I did not. And then her rare is also a 3-cost fist. Same Spider-Man. Oh my gosh, Superman affiliated. Inspirational. Also an ally while Lois Lane is active. Other Superman characters gain Iron Will while at level 1.
And what is the definition of Iron Will?
See if I remember this. Iron Will, you have to damage the character die twice before it gets KO'd.
Yeah, essentially, if it's only been damaged once, it doesn't get KO'd.
No, even though you did the KO it, you would have KO'd it, it doesn't get KO'd. You have to hit it.
Yeah, so this character cannot
twice.
be KO'd unless it was previously damaged this turn, or if it is simultaneously damaged by 2 different sources. If this character was damaged this turn and A, it is damaged a second time, and the total damage it received this turn equals or exceeds its defense, or B, a game effect later in the turn reduces this character's defense such that the damage it had previously received this turn is equal to or greater than its new D, or this is a really or C, a later game effect this turn directs that the character be KO'd, then KO this character. Also KO this character if it is simultaneously damaged by more than one source, for example, being blocked by more than one character die, and the total damage it receives from those sources equals or exceeds its defense. Characters with Iron Will that have not been damaged may not be selected to pay a cost that requires you to KO a character. So basically, it needs to damage it twice, and you need to meet or exceed its defense in order to make that happen.
That was a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. There's no wonder why people don't play Iron Will.
I don't think it's been around recently that I can.
No, I don't think there's anything modern with it.
No. But in the World Finest set, I did play around more with her, just her plain ally. I don't think I've ever done the other two, really. But I hardly play with Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Her promo is one that I've played a lot with a Superman team.
Mm-hmm.
DC Bombshell, 4-cost, no affiliation, 4-cost fist. Actually, she's all fist. Also an ally. Yeah, also an ally. And while Lois Lane is active, Superman dice you control gain Overcrush.
Pretty good. And
yeah.
It's not other Superman dice, so she's not Superman affiliated.
No, Superman dice. I assume Superman as in it has to be named Superman.
Yeah,
like the title. Yeah, it's not the affiliated symbols, the actual written
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there you go. What's the one you said you've worked with a couple of these before, Kim?
Just the ally one, plain ally one, and the promo. Promo is used on a Superman team.
Yeah, I don't think I've played with any of these, but I don't have the World Finest set. It was back before I decided to collect everything, so I wasn't a huge DC fan, and I'm still not a huge DC fan, so I didn't buy into the set. I'm pretty sure that I probably played with it at some point from, dice and cards borrowed from Rob or whatever, but yeah, I don't have a lot of DC.
World Finest is a good set. It's a pretty good set. Of course, I'm not speaking because I'm a DC fan, but it's a good set.
At all.
Not at all. Her other cards comes from the new set that drops hopefully in a week and a bit, is from Superman Krypton Crisis, and this will be my first time reading it, so I am spoiling it for myself.
You do it, Kim.
Because I don't spoil cards to myself, especially up on here.
You won't remember later. It's
okay,
fine.
all right, funny thing. I was, getting ready by typing in Lois Lane in the Dice Coalition page, And I was like, wow, how come her Superman cards are not coming out? Because Kim unchecked it in her search. So it actually stays unchecked when I go back to the page, which is quite funny.
They actually have it defaulted. So on our last episode, we announced that the team builder had been updated to include Superman Kryptonite Crisis. But there was some feedback and suggestions made from the community that because the set wasn't out yet, and there are folks like yourself, Kim, that don't want to be spoiled and want to only search with stuff that's available, that Superman Kryptonite Crisis is default unchecked when you open the team builder, and will remain that way until the set is released. Once the set is released, then they're going to go into the programming and default add that check back in.
Well, there you go. It wasn't, smart Chrome.
It wasn't smart Chrome and it wasn't smart Kim. It was smart whoever programs the team builder.
No. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. That's why it didn't show up. I actually had to check it.
Yep, you have to check it manually.
Yeah. All right. Well, she has a common, an uncommon, a rare, and a super rare in this set.
Woot woot.
Yeah, she's all Superman affiliated. Her uncommon reads Army Brat. Well, we know she grew up in the Army. Yeah, her common. And her dad was in the Army. Mm-hmm. Two Fist, while Lois Lane is active, your Superman dice get +1 A and +1 D.
Nice.
Okay. Buff Mr. Superman there.
Seems reasonable. She supports Superman.
Yeah. Her uncommon, a 3-cost fist. When fielded, prep a die from your bag. Cool. While Lois Lane is active, Superman gets +1 A and +1 D. She also has a global on this card. Pay shield, prevent 1 damage to target character, die, or player.
We've seen that global before, Kim.
We have.
Yep. It's on Samantha Wilson and is it Trish Stratus? It's one of the WWE characters.
Yes, I think it was. Yeah. I actually never used this global before.
It was a very handy global in the days of the Iceman meta. Because you could prevent the damage your opponent did to Iceman. So then you wouldn't take 2 damage. Right? Because if when Iceman takes damage in the attack step, you deal 2 damage to your opponent. So if you can prevent that damage to Iceman, then all of a sudden you don't take any damage. So that was a 3-cost fist.
Yep. And then there's her rare, which is also a 3-cost fist. Arthur X. Not Arthur. Arthur X. Not Arthur. Who the heck is Arthur? Arthur X. When fielded, up to 1 target character die can't block this turn. If you targeted a character die with this ability, Lois Lane can't attack this turn.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm surprised they actually said up to 1. I guess you can pick 0.
Yeah. It's basically like a May effect.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting.
I don't know. Up to 1 target character die can't block this turn. If you target a character die with this ability, Lois Lane can't attack. Interesting. That is an interesting one. And her super rare, it is a 2-cost fist. World famous investigative journalist.
As she is.
While Lois Lane is active, once per turn you may field a character die for free. Lois Lane can't be targeted by opposing action dice, and she has the same global on this card as well. Prevent 1 damage to target character, die, or player.
This is the one that's most interesting to me.
How so?
Well, I like that while she's active, once per turn you may field a character die for free. So I like that because there are some pretty high fielding costs in this set. So I am going to name some characters, Kim, that have expensive fielding.
No kidding. Superman.
These are not all of the ones that have expensive fielding costs, but some of the ones that we, and by we I mean my research assistant CCM quadruple 7, who very kindly pulled some data for me on this. That he thinks might see some play. So the anti-monitor is pretty good, but it's got a 1/2/2 fielding cost. Again, Barry Allen
1/2 fielding cost. Batman has the typical fielding cost in the set, Kim, 1, 2, 3. Bizarro has 1, 2, 2. Brainiac 5 has 1, 2, 3 fielding cost. General Zod has 1, 2, 3 fielding cost. Shazam 1, 2, 3 fielding cost. Supergirl 1, 2, 3 fielding costs. And Dr. Fate has an 003 fielding cost. So
Interesting.
there is that level 3 that's got the 3 fielding cost. So depending on what you roll your dice on, there could be some expensive stuff that you need to field.
Wait, Superman is not a 3 fielding cost? Interesting.
I'm not saying he's not. What I'm saying is that based on CCM Quadruple Seven's research, these are the ones that he thinks might see some play.
So Superman tech sucks. Got it.
Is potentially the answer, but I didn't check into any of this stuff. So.
Okay.
So anyway, I think it's interesting. Obviously, the global is very interesting.
And we see a lot of play on that global again.
Yeah, and there are some cards in the current meta, in the current modern, that have some really high fielding costs. Like I think of that Tombstone from Infinity Gauntlet, that on one of his sides is a 4 to field. Like, ouch. You know, it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of resources to expend to put a die in the field. And we do have other things that have helped us make fielding more affordable in the past. For example, the Robote Gullium Global from Warhammer is pay a shield. The first die you field this turn field for free. So that's kind of a cool global, but she gets to do it just by sitting in the field, and she's a 2-cost fist, so pretty easy to do. And she can't be targeted by opposing action dice. Your opponent can't use action dice on her. However, she is vulnerable to things like globals. So she could be forced to block, or she could be forced to attack, or she could be forced
to reroll.
Be rerolled by an opponent's character die. So there are still ways to target her. You just can't target her with action dice.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's an option of an inexpensive way to field some characters, and then that global is pretty handy too.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. I don't know. Unless I'm building a Superman team, maybe she'll of course have to be on it. But
I mean, if you want to.
Yeah. But her rare is an intriguing one.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about the rare, but I think the super rare might see some play. And if it's just for the global, then maybe it'll be the uncommon, because the uncommon and the super rare share the global.
Yeah, which is interesting too, because her super rares are max 2 dice.
I didn't even catch that. Good catch, Kim.
I wonder why they made it 2 dice. I guess because, well, I guess you really don't need it. She's just sitting there active, but
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like 2, and then her rare is 3, but then her common and uncommon is 4.
Well, it's good to have variety in life.
Yeah. Mix it up a little bit. Not everything can be 4.
Everything is 4, then everything would need max dice 4. If things have different max dice, then, maybe things will be calmer in the community.
Who knows?
Maybe we'll stop having max dice conversations. I know that's kind of a stretch, Kim. That's not going to happen.
Max dice conversations.
Max dice conversations are almost as bad as where the use pile belongs.
Oh, boy. Which we won't get started with that one.
Nope, we will not, because Kim and I are on opposite sides of that coin.
That is correct.
Well, I think that's all we have for today, Kim. Is there anything you want to add?
No. Not for Miss Lois Lane, or Mrs. Lois Lane, Clark Kent, whatever.
There's some interesting online Dice Masters happening right now, Kim. There's the Leader of the Packs.
Yes, which I am participating. So it's a max 16 players, because there's 16 team packs out there. So this is going to be going on for a few weeks with rounds. Each person was paired or randomly paired with a team pack, and they build their team from that team pack. Actually, and you can go over your max dice on this, because team packs only come with 2 dice, but you can proxy and you can go over the limit. And then you get teamed up with someone else, and it's the battle of the packs. Which pack is pretty much the best at the end of this? So you'll play a few rounds. I don't know how much rounds it is, And then on July something, it's a 1-day knockout tournament.
16th, I think.
Yes, something like that. So yeah, then it'll be a 1-day like knockout tournament. And then yeah, and we'll see which pack supremes. No, that was wrong. Which pack comes out on top. But it'll be interesting. Anyways,
that'll work.
Yeah, I got Dark X-Men, so I think that's a pretty good pack. So we'll see.
So do you make the same team every week?
Nope, you can change it, and you can change it based on the other team pack you're playing, because you know who you're playing, right? So you can kind of change up your cards based on the other team pack you're playing. So you don't need to submit a team or anything like that. You can just build it based on who you're playing. But your basic actions cannot change until the knockout round.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't bother me because I often pick my basic actions just to put them on the team.
Yeah, mine I couldn't really fit any, so I think I just playing with ones that are just sound good. But yeah, so that's going on right now. That's being held by Breath Weapon X / DM United. So they kind of teamed up to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then speaking of Breath Weapon X, they're having their Breath Weapon X Fest 4 happening on July 30th, I believe. A Saturday 1-day event. And you can sign up for that. And it's the Multi-Universe of Madness theme. So pretty much you have one character on your team. And you pretty much pick them from all the sets. So if you picked Lois, for example, you would have 2 cards of Lois on your team.
And a couple basic actions and hope for the best.
Yeah. As long as their dice are all obviously distinguishable, because I know some of them are like almost exactly, but you really have to look and see, right? They have to be different of some sort.
It's an interesting concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've racked my brain. I think I have about maybe 5 different characters I would like to do, but yeah, we'll see. I have time.
You have fun yet.
Boats of time.
And then of course there's Weekly Dice Arena on Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays, 9:00 Eastern. Yeah, so that's hosted by dmNorthTV. And yeah, that's happening every week.
And we've put a pause on Dice Social for the summer. We'll pick it back up in fall, September-ish.
Where Dice Social's on summer break.
That's right. Summer break time.
Yep.
Summertime. And then also we had some exciting news about Gen Con. So I don't think we knew this when we recorded our last episode, but Jackalope Spam, I literally can't talk tonight. Jackalope Spam, aka Nick, will be the judge for Gen Con. So he will be attending Gen Con to judge all of the Dice Masters events, and the drafting product will be Superman Kryptonite Crisis. They've also added in some modern competitive events each day. So there's a modern competitive Dice Masters event every day from Thursday through Sunday. So if you are attending Gen Con, there will be lots of opportunities for you to play Dice Masters. And I'm sure there will also be other events and pickup games and anything like that. So if you're interested in learning more about that, a good spot to join would be the Dice Masters online Discord, which now has a Gen Con chat.
And when is Gen Con?
Gen Con is in August.
August, okay.
Yeah. Early August. I should know this because we've talked about it before. Thursday, August 4th through Sunday, August 7th in Indianapolis. Which is in Indiana.
My husband's company is in Indianapolis. Maybe, he needs to get convinced to go there that, week.
Yeah, I mean,
And hopefully they know Gen Con's right near there.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm coming with you.
Absolutely. I'm sure there's probably children's gaming. You could take Noah.
Noah can stay with the grandparents.
Yeah, that's probably a better plan. So if you're heading to Gen Con, this is your opportunity to get in on some Dice Masters, join in the Gen Con chat on the Dice Masters online Discord, or watch Facebook for updates, because I know that Nick is putting Facebook updates out as well in the Dice Masters Unlimited Facebook group. No news yet on Memphis, though, aside from the fact that it's happening and the dates have been announced in September.
We're still waiting for more information on what Worlds and US Nationals is going to look like, and if there will be other national level events in other countries. So as we hear, we will be sure to let you know.
I think that's it.
I think that's it we have for today, Kim. Is that right?
Yeah. Where can we reach us?
You can find us in a whole bunch of places. You can send us an email to tripledpodcast@dm-north.com. You can visit dm-north.com and leave a comment on one of our episode posts. You can find us on all the socials, which include Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at dmNorthTV. And you can also find us doing live stuff on Twitch, which includes Dice Masters, but also other board games at twitch.tv/dmNorthTV. You can visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/dmNorthTV. Join the Discord, as aforementioned several times in this episode. And I think that's it. So until next time, on a double of dice.